Hi, it's Martin McGrath from Financial Edge Group. Today I just want to talk to you a bit about aged care and how that factors in. We do a bit of planning for our clients around aged care, and so there's some important elements that I want to highlight. These are really just the basics. There's more detail that comes, and happy to have a chat with you about it if that's needed. When looking at aged care, one of the first steps, if you haven't already, is we need to get what's called an ACAT assessment. That's a bit of a health assessment to understand eligibility and requirements for someone moving into an aged care facility. That's an important step on the health side. From the financial side, there's a few things that need to be planned for. When we're looking at aged care, there's basically 4 types of different payments. And different facilities have different setups, but all of them come under these kind of 4 arrangements. Number 1 is the basic daily fee. Everyone pays a basic daily fee. It's the same level. That covers the food, the nursing, the facilities, stuff like that. And that's the same rate for everyone, no matter what the facility is. The second element is what's called a means tested care fee. And this is depending upon everyone's situation. How much assets do I have? What's in the bank? What are we doing with the former home? Single, partner, that kind of stuff. It's a complicated formula. Some people pay no means tested fee, 0. Some people pay a more significant means tested fee, and some ways that comes together. But often that's a fee that's paid frequently when someone's in aged care as well, and that needs to be factored in for cash flow. The third part is called an extra services fee, and this is different facilities and potentially different rooms within facilities. Some charge this, some don't, and the different amounts, and that often covers perhaps some superior offerings. Maybe some of them give some extra foods or incentives or more activities or more entertainment. So that's important to check when we're looking and doing our research. Is there an extra services fee? What is that? That's provided often by the nursing home itself, not government mandated in terms of that respect. So it's important to factor that into cash flow as well. And then probably the most important bit is the accommodation cost, the actual cost of the room. And again, this is important to factor in. There's some level of complexity here, and we do a lot of analysis and scenarios for our clients to talk this through. And the accommodation cost can be broken into 2 different options. One is called the RAD, one is called the DAP. So the RAD is a refundable accommodation deposit, and that is basically paying for the room, like buying the house. I want to move into this room. It cost $500,000. I'm going to find $500,000 from accessing some assets to pay for that room in full. If you pay for that room in full, there's no extra cost. That's you covering that whole cost up front. It is refundable. So down the track, if something happens, that money does come back to the estate or come back to the individual if needs be, and that amount is refunded. And that's effectively a one-off capital cost up front. There's then no ongoing cost if you paid that in full. At the other end of the spectrum is where you pay a daily fee, and that's the DAP. And so you can pay nothing at all to enter that room for $500,000, but then effectively you start paying rent, or it's counted as interest, every day that you're in there. There's some calculations as to what's better to do, one or the other, and you can do somewhere in between. If you don't have enough to pay the full amount, you can pay a partial amount, and then you get a bit of both. That's often what we do a lot of calculations around that, because people maybe don't have access to that money or not all right now, and that's a lot of our cash flow there. They're kind of the 4 basic financial elements of aged care. Now, part of that is both upfront, how do we get in there, and what does the first few weeks or months look like, but also more importantly, that longer term impact of that. Do we have enough cash down the track? Are there things we can do to improve some of these costs or minimize the cost? Making sure there's enough money from the pension or investments to cover these costs for many years. We do a lot of advice for our clients who are entering this stage of life. It's an important planning element to do. If you want some help, feel free to reach out. We can have a chat.